You have your phone in your pocket right now, or on your lap, or next to you on the bed while you sleep. And according to peer-reviewed research published in multiple medical journals, that device, the one you carry with you every single hour of every single day, is measurably damaging the tissue, the vessels, and the hormonal system responsible for your male sexual health. Not theoretically, not in rats, in human men. Documented, measured, published. Stay with me, because what I show you in the next 15 minutes will permanently change where you keep your phone. I'm Dr. Mia Chen, men's health specialist and urologist. On this channel, I give you the clinical information your doctor doesn't have time to cover in a 10-minute appointment. No filters, just the science. Before we get into it, I put together a free guide, 5 everyday habits damaging your male health. Link is in the description. Download it now. It takes 30 seconds. The average man keeps his smartphone in his front pocket for 8 to 10 hours per day, placing an active radiofrequency electromagnetic field source within 2 to 5 centimeters of testicular tissue for the majority of his waking hours. That proximity matters because electromagnetic field intensity follows an inverse square law, meaning intensity quadruples every time you have the distance. The difference between your phone on a desk and your phone in your pocket is not marginal. It is orders of magnitude in terms of tissue exposure. Your testes are not protected tissue. They are located outside the body precisely because they are thermally sensitive, designed to operate at a precise temperature window below core body temperature. They have no bony protection, no significant tissue buffer. Direct proximity to an electromagnetic field source is direct proximity to testicular tissue. A 2021 systematic review in environmental research analyzed 18 studies on mobile phone radiation and male reproductive health. The conclusion? Men with higher mobile phone use had significantly lower sperm count, motility, and DNA integrity compared to men with lower exposure. 18 studies, not one, not a statistical anomaly, a systematic review. The highest level of scientific evidence, consistently pointing in the same direction. Let me explain the 3 mechanisms through which your smartphone damages male reproductive and sexual health, because understanding the mechanism is what makes this credible and what tells you exactly which behaviors to change. Mechanism 1. Radiofrequency electromagnetic radiation. Your smartphone transmits and receives radio waves continuously, not just when you are on a call, but whenever it is searching for signal, connected to Wi-Fi, receiving notifications, or running background applications. This radiation is non-ionizing, meaning it does not break DNA directly the way X-rays do, but its thermal and non-thermal effects on biological tissue are well documented. Sperm cells are uniquely vulnerable to radiofrequency radiation because they are in continuous, rapid division and carry highly condensed DNA with limited repair capacity. RF radiation exposure has been shown to increase reactive oxygen species in seminal fluid, causing oxidative damage to sperm DNA that conventional semen analysis does not detect. This is a critical point. A standard semen analysis measures count, motility, and morphology. It does not measure DNA fragmentation. A man can have a completely normal semen analysis and still have significant sperm DNA damage from electromagnetic exposure. Damage that reduces fertility and increases miscarriage risk without showing up on routine testing. A study in fertility and sterility found that men who kept their phones in their front pocket had sperm DNA fragmentation rates 47% higher than men who did not carry phones on their body. The difference was not explained by age, weight, smoking, or any other confounding variable. The phone position was the variable. That is the only thing that was different between the groups. Mechanism 2. Thermal damage. This one is straightforward and the evidence is unambiguous. Your smartphone generates heat during operation. Processing, screen activity, charging, signal transmission, all of these produce thermal output. When the phone is in your pocket, that heat transfers directly to the scrotal tissue adjacent to it. Scrotal thermometry studies show that front pocket phone storage increases ipsilateral scrotal temperature, meaning the side where the phone is carried, by an average of 0.9 to 2.1 degrees Celsius above baseline. Sperm production is impaired at elevations as small as 1 degree above optimal testicular temperature. We already know from cycling research that scrotal temperature elevation impairs sperm production. The mechanism here is identical. The heat source is different. Instead of a bicycle saddle, it is a device you voluntarily place against your body for 10 hours a day. A landmark study in human reproduction followed men for 12 months and found that those who carried phones in front pockets had measurably lower sperm concentration and progressive motility, with the degree of impairment correlating directly with daily hours of pocket carry time. More hours in the pocket, worse sperm parameters. This is a dose-response relationship, the hallmark of a real causal mechanism, not coincidence. Mechanism 3, testosterone suppression. This is where it goes beyond fertility and into daily male function, energy, drive, body composition, sexual performance. Your Leydig cells, the testosterone-producing cells in your testes, are sensitive to both thermal stress and electromagnetic field exposure. The same oxidative stress mechanism that damages sperm DNA also impairs Leydig cell function. When Leydig cells are under oxidative stress, steroidogenesis, the conversion of cholesterol into testosterone, becomes less efficient. A study published in the Central European Journal of Urology found that men with high mobile phone use, defined as more than 4 hours of active use per day, had testosterone levels 14% lower on average than men with low mobile phone use, after controlling for age, weight, and lifestyle factors. 14% lower testosterone from phone use, not from a medical condition, not from a medication, from a behavioral pattern that most men engage in without a second thought. The mechanism is direct. RF radiation and thermal stress increase reactive oxygen species in testicular tissue. Elevated ROS impairs Leydig cell mitochondrial function. Impaired mitochondrial function reduces ATP production in Leydig cells. Without adequate ATP, the steroidogenesis pathway slows, and testosterone output drops. This is not a theoretical chain. Each link in this mechanism has been independently documented in peer-reviewed research. Now let's talk about the vascular mechanism, because this is where the title of this video comes from. The claim that smartphone use is shrinking the penis. Chronic oxidative stress and thermal damage do not just affect sperm and testosterone production. They affect the endothelial tissue, the vessel lining, of the blood vessels supplying the penis. The same mechanism that drives atherosclerosis in coronary arteries applies to penile arteries. Oxidative stress damages the endothelium. Damaged endothelium produces less nitric oxide. Less nitric oxide means reduced vasodilation capacity. Reduced vasodilation capacity means weaker, less sustained erections over time. A 2019 study in andrology found that men with high electromagnetic field exposure had measurably reduced endothelial function in penile vasculature, assessed through flow-mediated dilation testing. The reduction in vascular function correlated with years of high exposure behavior. Years. This is cumulative damage. A man who has carried his phone in his pocket for 10 years has 10 years of cumulative endothelial oxidative stress in his penile vasculature. On the question of penile size specifically, chronic reduced blood flow and endothelial dysfunction are associated with smooth muscle fibrosis in penile tissue. Fibrotic smooth muscle cannot expand normally under engorgement. Multiple studies have documented measurable reduction in flaccid penile dimensions in men with chronic endothelial dysfunction, regardless of erectile function during arousal. This is the mechanism. Chronic vascular damage leads to smooth muscle fibrosis, leads to reduced tissue expansion capacity. The phone in your pocket is contributing to this process every single day. Now, Wi-Fi radiation. Because most men sleep with their phone on the nightstand or charging on the bed, and Wi-Fi operates continuously throughout the night. Sleep is when your body produces the majority of its testosterone through nocturnal luteinizing hormone pulses that occur during slow-wave sleep. Research shows that RF radiation exposure during sleep disrupts slow-wave sleep architecture, reducing the duration and depth of the sleep stages where testosterone production peaks. This creates a second pathway to testosterone suppression entirely separate from the direct testicular effect. Less slow-wave sleep means fewer LH pulses, means less testosterone produced. regardless of what the Leydig cells are capable of. A study in the International Journal of Environmental Research and Public Health found that men who slept with their phones within arm's reach had measurably lower morning testosterone levels compared to men who kept phones outside the bedroom, even when total sleep duration was identical. Same sleep duration, different phone location, different testosterone levels. The RF exposure during sleep was the variable. What about phone calls specifically? Holding the phone against your head for extended calls is a separate exposure category, and one with its own documented effects on male health through systemic oxidative stress and hormonal disruption. Men who made more than 60 minutes of phone calls per day had sperm parameters significantly worse than men who made less than 20 minutes of calls per day, according to a large observational study from the Cleveland Clinic involving over 360 men presenting to a fertility clinic. 360 men. Cleveland Clinic. This is not fringe science. This is mainstream reproductive medicine research from one of the most respected medical institutions in the United States. The practical implication: speakerphone or wired earphones for all calls longer than 2 minutes. Not because holding the phone to your head is dramatically more dangerous than pocket carry, but because eliminating unnecessary exposure across all categories is the correct clinical approach when the cumulative evidence points consistently in one direction. Now the complete protocol. What you actually change and what the evidence says about how much protection each change provides. Change 1. Phone out of the pocket. Carry your phone in a bag, a jacket pocket, a back pocket, or on a desk, not in your front trouser pocket adjacent to your testes. This single change eliminates the primary exposure pathway responsible for the sperm DNA fragmentation and temperature elevation data we discussed. Men who switched from front pocket carry to bag carry for 12 weeks showed measurable improvement in sperm motility and DNA fragmentation scores without any other lifestyle change. The exposure reduction alone produced measurable biological improvement within one reproductive cycle. Change 2. Phone off the bed and out of the bedroom during sleep, or at minimum, airplane mode during sleep hours. This eliminates the nocturnal RF exposure that disrupts slow-wave sleep architecture and reduces testosterone production. Airplane mode reduces RF emission by approximately 95%. The phone stops transmitting and searching for signal. This is not the same as turning the phone off, but it is functionally equivalent for the purposes of reducing biological RF exposure during sleep. Change 3. Speakerphone or wired earphones for all extended calls. Wired earphones, not wireless earbuds, which have their own RF emission, place the phone at a distance and route audio through a wire rather than through a wireless signal adjacent to your head. Change 4. Antioxidant support. Because the primary damage mechanism is oxidative stress, reactive oxygen species damaging sperm DNA, Leydig cell mitochondria, and penile endothelium, nutritional antioxidant support directly addresses the biological mechanism. Zinc, vitamin C, CoQ10, and selenium have all demonstrated protective effects on sperm DNA integrity and Leydig cell function in the context of oxidative stress. Zinc 25 to 40 milligrams daily. Vitamin C 500 to 1000 milligrams daily. CoQ10 200 milligrams daily. Selenium 100 to 200 micrograms daily. These are the 4 compounds with the strongest evidence base for protecting male reproductive tissue from oxidative damage. A randomized controlled trial found that antioxidant supplementation in men with high electromagnetic field occupational exposure reduced sperm DNA fragmentation by 38% over 12 weeks, demonstrating that the oxidative damage mechanism is directly addressable through nutritional intervention even without reducing exposure. Change 5. Reduce total screen and active use time where possible. This is the least actionable recommendation, but the most impactful from a pure exposure standpoint. Every hour of active phone use is an hour of continuous RF transmission at maximum power, because the phone is actively processing, transmitting data, and maintaining connections. The difference in RF output between a phone actively streaming video and a phone sitting idle in standby is approximately 10 to 100-fold. Active use. Calls, video, gaming, social media produces dramatically higher RF emission than passive standby. Minimizing active use time directly reduces peak exposure. This does not mean eliminating smartphone use. It means being deliberate about when you use it and where you keep it when you are not actively using it. The complete protocol summarized. Phone out of front pocket during all waking hours. Phone in airplane mode or outside bedroom during sleep. Speakerphone or wired earphones for extended calls. Antioxidant stack daily, and minimize active use time when phone is on or near your body. Implement all 5. Recheck sperm parameters in 90 days if fertility is a concern. Here's the bottom line. Your smartphone emits radiofrequency, electromagnetic radiation, and thermal energy continuously. Carried in your front pocket for 8 to 10 hours a day, it exposes testicular tissue to documented levels of RF and thermal stress sufficient to impair sperm DNA integrity, reduce testosterone production, and contribute to endothelial dysfunction in penile vasculature. The research is not preliminary. It is systematic, replicated, and published in peer-reviewed journals. The 5 protocol changes are simple, free, and backed by evidence showing measurable biological improvement within one reproductive cycle. The question is not whether the risk is real. The question is whether you are going to keep your phone in your pocket tomorrow. If this was useful, subscribe. I publish evidence-based men's health content every week without the filter of a 10-minute appointment. The free guide, 5 Everyday Habits Damaging Your Male Health, is linked below. See you in the next video.